Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh, and in this video we shall discuss the feature news for today, that is on battery swapping policy that has been initiated by the Niti Ayog, and today is 25th of April 2022, and let me welcome all of you here. Hima, Amlan, Ashish, Shriti, Kim, all of you and other people watching offline. Welcome to all of you. Let's begin this. Is it not true that the battery technology in India is at the nascent stage? We have heard of batteries catching fire. We've heard of the electric vehicles not being able to fuel the complete distance we want to move from one place to another. And this is where government has initiated something called as the battery swapping policy. Yes, if you are midway from Delhi to Jaipur and your vehicle's capacity is to move only 250 kilometers and Jaipur is 280 kilometers, what happens after the 250 kilometers that you have driven? The car stops, the vehicle stops, and that's where the vehicle would need a battery charging station. Battery charging station not being created and not being able to get created throughout the whole country at a very dense levels. That is why the idea of battery swapping has come. The idea states that anybody can get instituted a new battery anywhere they want, and this will be called as battery as a service. Now, once we purchase a vehicle, an electric vehicle, there is a substantial cost of the vehicle which comes as the battery itself. The battery itself is costly. Suppose, so I had inquired for a Tata vehicle called as there's one Nexon, and there's one more vehicle which is being circulated as a cab vehicle. I'm forgetting the name. And that vehicle would cost 12 lakhs with the new battery technology. And once it runs for a certain substantial kilometers, say for example 2 lakh kilometers, the battery has to be replaced because its charging capacity, its lifetime would be exceeded. And after the purchase of this 12 lakh vehicle and running off 2 lakh kilometers, when the battery has to be exchanged, the person has to pay 4 to 5 lakh rupees again for a new battery. So government says purchase a vehicle in the battery swapping policy without a battery and lease the battery for yourself from a brand. When you lease the battery from an organization for a while, suppose the whole lifetime of the suppose 5 years, you lease the pact with the organization. Every time the battery is about to die at 250 kilometers, we just let the person know where we are, and they will come with a vehicle and they will swap the battery and give us a new charged battery and take away the battery which has been discharged. They will have a complete set of batteries there, and they will be recharging. They will be providing the service of providing the batteries and recharging and providing the battery at the juncture at the place where we are, right? This way they will be in the business of charging of the batteries, maintenance of the batteries, purchasal of the batteries, and they will be in a power trading agreement with other organizations. This way the individual will be free of charging hassles of the vehicle. All they will have to do is call the company up, battery swapping company, and get all the services from them. So battery as a service is being envisaged. Now, how does this help the economy? Let's understand. There are 5 important benefits of this. First, the rider will not be wasting any time on charging of the vehicle. If this is a slow charger, it might even take 7 to 8 to 10 hours for the vehicle to get charged. If it is a fast charger, which is very costly, say 5 lakh rupees is for Nexon, Tata companies, so that vehicle would get charged within an hour, but it is always available in shortage, and it is also not available at all the places. So if you want to save time, then you can have battery swapping done in your vehicle. The initial cost of the vehicle will be low. So affordability of EVs will be high. Then people will be able to purchase EVs and they will be able to take batteries on lease. As simple as that. It's not Tata Altroz, it is another vehicle, forgetting the name. And they can get on to payment in multiple ways, right? One need not pay the whole amount in at once, right? So there will be multiple companies which will be competing to provide battery as a service to the stakeholders. When the government says that in the coming few years we will make the availability of battery vehicles at par with the petroleum vehicles, the petrol diesel vehicles, it means that either the cost of affording petroleum and diesel vehicles will rise, or the cost of affording a battery vehicle will come down. Either ways, when we see when the battery is not to be purchased, the cost of EV will come down, and when the prices of petroleum products rise, then there will be mutual ways in which the prices will be similar, right? Efficient use of land. Now the same land or maybe more land was required for a person to charge their vehicles. If you see a Tesla charging station in America, vehicles are parked for 15-20 minutes, and that's where, see, Tesla is a different brand altogether. It charges the vehicle to a substantial limit in within half an hour. So the whole space is utilized for only battery charging. The whole space can be saved. The land use can be saved in urban areas, and smaller institutions which keep battery can be utilized there, and they can provide battery as a service. So multiple usages and benefits available to people. This will also increase the energy efficiency of the battery, right? Since the battery is swapped and used in multiple vehicles, right? So that so this is how it conserves the whole lifetime of the battery. So there are some advantages, although to my mind it doesn't look to be as productive. I'm not able to envisage this, but this is actually possible. Replacing the part after driving 250 kilometers or 300 kilometers, and of course now the capacity of vehicles has only risen. So right now there are vehicles which are providing almost 800 to 900 kilometers in one running of a battery vehicle. Now these kind of batteries, you'll have to pay more lease, right? But then look at the operational issues. For example, if there are different brands, A brand, B brand, C brand and D brand, and sometimes I'm utilizing the service of A and sometimes B and C and D, interoperability has to be maintained. That means the batteries have to be of same quality, they must be standardized, and the complete operations, right, the way it has to be put in the system, it has to be standard for all the systems. For example, people look for a type C charger and somebody looks for type B charger, somebody looks for an Apple charger. When we are doing this, when we do this in running of a vehicle, फिर तो हो गया, then तो vehicle अब फिर चली गया, right? So that is why we need standardization in systems, right? So battery interoperability is very important here, right? We don't know the high cost that it might incur. Right now we see it as a low cost thing, but it might be a low cost, high cost of battery replacement, and lack of public charging infrastructure and dedicated home charging spots have held back the mass adoption of EVs, right? So overall high cost of adoption of EVs is there right now as well. Operational constraints, we don't know whether these companies will have sufficient funds, whether the quality of the batteries that they are providing will be high, right? So many operational constraints regarding these companies, and economic constraints, fundings. All right, good enough. So these are the challenges that we look forward to when we look at battery swapping policy, which has been initiated by Niti Ayog. Okay, Niti Ayog has released a draft battery swapping policy to catalyze large scale adoption of electric vehicles. Okay, so what does it say? Public funds, land, raw materials for advanced cell batteries. Only specific kind of advanced cell batteries will be used for these kind of battery swapping. Now government says that, see, since we cannot institute the electric vehicle charging stations at all places, at the places where there is a lot of density of population, let us start having battery swapping, and we will start with those cities which have 40 lakh plus population, so 4 million plus population, and we will institute these battery swapping facilities first, and then we will move on to smaller cities, possibly state capitals, and cities which have 5 lakh plus population, state capitals, otherwise, etc. And all the battery ratings have to be standardized and rated with the help of Bureau of Energy Efficiency. All right, so battery swapping, exchanging discarded or partially charged batteries of EVs for charged ones manually or with mechanical intervention. Okay, yes, so Amlan says battery as a service 18% GST, whereas EVs 5%. Yes, so this is what is called as inverted duty structure, right? When we are charging, when we are promoting the battery technology, why are we charging some of the components of the battery as with high charge, right? So this structure has to be organized, where the GST regime has to be rationalized according to battery consumption. Therefore, if we are promoting the battery swapping technology or policy, we will have to possibly reduce the GST or the charges that the government imposes on them. Right now, battery, we are seeing this kind of thing happening. We are seeing this kind of thing happening in two-wheelers, three-wheelers, where battery is changed after its lifetime, after its complete lifetime, not after its service, immediate service. But then when it has been seen in 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, it can also be done with 4-wheelers and far more efficiently. The need, Panchamrit is the need why we are doing this. E-mobility, right? India looks at greater e-mobility within the country, and reducing the differential across tax rates on lithium-ion batteries. Here it is, 5% and 18% that you people mentioned, right? So when battery is being used as a service, government is charging 18%. Whereas when we want to purchase electric vehicles, we charge us 5%. Then we are not promoting battery as a service, although we are speaking of this. So this is a inconsistency which has to be reduced and eliminated. Contractual relationship, minimum contract duration for contract to be signed between EV users and battery providers has to be seen. So this is an area of concern. What should be the contract period between service provider A and the consumer, or service provider B and the consumer? What should be the terms of engagement? What in case the places at which batteries are kept, they are kept at a high temperature and it results in batteries catching fire, right? Then battery charging standardization has to be done. Many things which we have studied on what is the reason for the telephones or telephones blasting or the catching fire of electric vehicles, all of them apply to battery as a service operator, right? So they will have to ensure that air conditioned facilities are there. They have to ensure that the places from where they source batteries, they have to be standard, right? Standard operating procedures for changing of batteries have to be done. Identification and traceability, yes, this is a concern. So if battery service provider A has given me the battery, but they have not been given a unique identification number, that is the place from where I have got the battery. If that is not there, then I will not be able to source or get back to the source place and claim the issues, right? So identification and traceability has to be done through a unique identification number. All this is a part of the policy itself. All right. Okay. Proposals are standards approved by Bureau of Indian Standards. All the standards have to be approved for battery manufacturing and advanced chemistry cell batteries only under FAME 2 schemes. Internet of Technology, IoT based battery monitoring system, remote monitoring and immobilization capabilities. Suppose I am moving to a destination and I am not able to get in touch with my battery service provider, BAS. They should be able to track my movement through GPS and possibly give me a service in case it is urgent and it is required. All right. So this is called as being able to trace the vehicle. All right. Safety and cost-effective infrastructure for battery charging and battery swapping stations. So safety and cost-effective infrastructure is the mandate. This is the battery as a service model, BaaS, customer supply relationship is different in this model as compared to the traditional model, because in the traditional model the owner had ownership of the battery, but then this time it is only using as a service. So this is a change of ownership. Yes, people have been doing this. People have been taking the vehicles on rent for a couple of years from Zoom Car, from other such organizations. They have not been paying for the full car. They've been utilizing new cars, and a couple of years down the line they swap the car with another new car, and this kind of service can also be provided for the battery as a service. Now here the cost might rise. Cost might rise in the long run for one user, but in the short run, mid run, it will be only a nominal cost for the person. So if, for example, if you look at the cost of owning a vehicle for 10 years, if you look for 10 years, it might be 50,000 a year, for maintenance, battery, servicing, etc. Just making you understand. So in 10 years, it becomes 5 lakh rupees, right? For a battery vehicle, it could be 80,000 rupees per year. But then you get a new battery, you get everything ready every year, right? This is as a service and this is as ownership. This is the difference. It is the choice that people have, but slowly and steadily the cost of ownership will rise with time. We know that the cost of ownership is also going to get escalated because we don't have availability of battery charging stations. So this is why providing this as a service in the long run will possibly be beneficial for economy, for the human being as well, right? For ecology as well. So the draft policy is here to come, and this is being proceeded amidst the battery catching firing that we have discussed a couple of times. So that's what is the thing here. All right. So understanding this all, let's sum up whatever we studied right now. So when we look at battery as a service, we speak about various services being provided for people having batteries. Battery as a service provider. So we understood the rationale behind government providing this as a service, right? So there are 5 important rationale. For example, saving time of the people, helping people save the infrastructure costs, save the manpower, and save the spaces at the battery charging stations, right? A complete new system economy which also saves finances of owning a battery. Now we studied the challenges in this system, right? So it's a new system, standardization has to be done and maintained. We also understood with the help of a few examples how battery will be used as a service, right? So what is the whole mechanism? For example, having GPS enabled vehicles, people replacing the batteries. We also understood what are the opportunities in the future, why the government is hastening up this process. So Panchamrit, government investment in FAME 2 scheme, right? So these are the reasons why we want battery as a service, and the challenges which are happening day in and day out. For example, the fire being battery vehicles catching fire. All right. So a question for you people here is not here, and you understand what has to be done for a question like this, for a topic like this. You have to understand, you have to write down what are the opportunities, what are the challenges, what is the way forward, and some examples on case studies if you have, right? This is how we will complete a theme like this. All right. If there are questions, please put it down. Okay, there's a question here. What subject do I teach? I am on the verge of completion of my PhD in philosophy, and I'm quite decently equipped with the GS paper 4. So that's what is the status. Thank you for asking this question. All right. If you like this initiative, show some love through likes, comments, and shares. And if you have any doubts, questions, please put them down in the comment section. People having some questions. And yes, editorials are getting posted regularly. I'm covering not only the topic which is covered in the newspapers, but covering the topic holistically for your understanding. And if there is a question that only exercises your brain, so try and attempting the question. And editorial understanding is an important thing. We have removed it from current affairs discussion. However, it is still forming a significant part of your preparation journey. And trust me, a lot of chunk of your preparation gets covered through themes like those. I'm specifically picking up themes which are in news, which are of interest, and which can serve a wider purpose. For example, understanding the issue in Park Strait can help us understand the international relation between two countries, can help us understand what is the constraint that India's shipping sector or fishing sector faces, right? So let's continue with the discussions on editorial as well, right? So thank you for watching. Thank you everybody. Bhavani, Ashish, Preeti, Hima, Gopal, all of you. Good night.